Hello, welcome to another week. It's a Monday, take two with Jerry and Debbie. If you're with us on YouTube or EWTN Catholic Radio Facebook page, you can see us. We're streaming live, so good morning to you there as well. And across the country, around the world, on our affiliates, Sirius XM Satellite Radio, apps, and the internet. And Debbie, there's just so many ways for people to hear us, and we're happy about that. And boy, the Holy Spirit has done it again, Debbie. We schedule shows weeks out in advance, and it always seems that when we have certain shows, especially with guests, it's very, very timely and appropriate, and the Holy Spirit couldn't have done a better job of timing today's guest and topic. I think our listeners are going to want to take part.
I couldn't agree more, Jerry. Just real quickly, you mentioned YouTube. Jerry, last week when we did the show, this post came in a little bit late, so we missed it. Michael on the YouTube chat family turned 66 years young last week and wanted us to sing happy birthday on the air to him. Well, Michael, I don't know if you're going to get that out of Jerry. You might have gotten a version of happy birthday from me because I do like to sing. Jerry, you don't like to sing publicly, although you have a very good voice. But Michael turned 66 years old last week, or 66 years young, and happy birthday, Michael. Sorry the post came in so late, but I know the YouTube family probably wished you probably a half a dozen happy birthdays, so we hope you had just a great birthday and a great weekend. And also, Jerry, we made great strides this weekend on the Jerry and Debbie Facebook page. We crossed over 400 likes. That's awesome. We're trying to get to 500 likes this week, and we know we can do it if you can help us. Please, we're asking you from the bottom of our hearts, go to Jerry and Debbie Facebook page, like it, and then share it with your friends, because we've got content coming out in August that we really think is going to benefit you in your faith walk. So please help us out. We're trying to get to 5,000 likes before the end of the year, and we can do it if we all join together. So, okay, I did all the housekeeping, Jerry. I'm ready to tackle this subject, and I know healthcare is a heavy thing for us in Arizona, so maybe you don't want me weighing in on this.
Well, dear friends, we want you to weigh in on this. We're talking about the current state of healthcare, the future of healthcare. We've kind of tongue-in-cheek titled the show, Whose Care Are We Under? Because Obamacare is still currently in play, and President Trump, of course, ran on the promise of repealing and replacing that. And, of course, we've seen now that Congress hasn't been able to get that done. And so what we want to do really, though, is set all that aside. Okay, it's been first and foremost in the news, in our faces. We've all been watching intently. The U.S. bishops have weighed in. So many people are concerned about what's going to unfold there. But what we want to talk about today really is just where the rubber hits the road. Your health care, your understanding of it, your experience of it. All right, we have higher premiums. We have difficulty getting appointments. We have impersonal treatment from doctors many times. You sit in the office with your doctor, and he or she looks more at a computer screen and is typing than looking at you and
right.
and diagnosing you. So, and that's what we have, technology and so forth. It's not a knock on that, but anyway, we want to know, what do you think about where healthcare is right now, where we've come, and where we see it going? So, join us on the program.
Well, I was kind of chuckling about Arizona, but Arizona's been mentioned numerous times in all these debates over the health care, about how many large carriers have pulled out of, insurance carriers have pulled out of Arizona, and rates have skyrocketed 110%, 145%, 180% in Maricopa County, where I live, Jerry. I tell you, when you have to get insurance on your own, it's very, very difficult. There's literally one insurance carrier in Arizona, and it's really more than my mortgage payment. I'll be really honest with you, and that's when you think about that, how have we gotten to this place? And I know we're going to have some help today from an expert, a doctor who's joining us, and you know him, Jerry, from the Fort Wayne, Indiana area, correct?
I do. Dr. Tom McGovern is our guest here today. We're going to introduce him for you right now. He is a dermatologist in the Fort Wayne area. Been practicing for about 27 years. I believe he's affiliated with Lutheran Hospital there in Fort Wayne. And I have had the great joy of interviewing Dr. Tom McGovern and several other doctors in the Fort Wayne area during Redeemer Radio's Share-a-thons. Shout out, Redeemer Radio. Thanks for carrying Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Yes,
thank
you.
And Dr. Tom McGovern has, I think, a lot of good insights and really some opinions on the state of healthcare. So, Dr. McGovern, welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jerry. And just to clarify, I'm not affiliated with Lutheran Hospital. I'm part of an independent group of physicians, which is an ever-dwindling commodity in the United States.
It sure is.
Consultant.
Darn, the Internet lied to me.
Yes. Can you imagine that? I know. Isn't there some meme with Abraham Lincoln saying, you can trust everything that's on the Internet, signed Abe Lincoln? So
Right.
I still don't believe it either.
Well, I want to give the phone number out again for our listeners. 1-800-585-9396. Please, we've got a doctor with us here today. He's got his finger on the pulse of what's happening with healthcare, where we've been, where we are, where we're going. And you may have questions about just really accessing healthcare. Maybe you don't have health insurance. You can't afford it. Maybe you have questions about this whole repeal and replacement thing that President Trump is trying to do. 800-585-9396.
I want to always address our guests properly. Is it Dr. Tom or Dr. McGovern do you prefer to go by?
Oh, either one is fine.
Okay.
Dr. Tom is fine. A lot of people call me that.
Oh, cool.
And I want to highlight that my area of interest and expertise is not as a policy wonk or with the money numbers, as much as it is, like Jerry said earlier, where the rubber hits the road. I'm on the national board of the Catholic Medical Association, and we try to give the pulse to the bishops and to others about what's really happening in medical care where the physician and the patient meet. Not so much with policy, although I can comment heavily on how policy has affected physicians and physician-patient relationships.
Right. Well, thank you for your work on that. We really appreciate it, Doctor. I'm sure you probably heard me mention how Arizona's been cited so many times in the debate about how rates have gone sky high, and it's really caused a lot of people a lot of angst about what to do and where to go, and it has really taken a toll somewhat on our faith, because where do you go to? Do you do some of these joint ventures that are Christian based? I mean, there's a lot of things that are now on the table that you have to really discern and see if it's the proper way as a Catholic Christian. And so I hope we can cover that as well too, Doctor.
Yes, one of the things that I think is essential to understand is the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. He who pays for the health care makes the moral rules. And so the more power we give to government funding and the more power we give to insurance company funding, the more they're going to make the ethical decisions and not the physicians and patients. So that's why some of these other ventures are a good idea, and they are still legal, and we can talk a little bit about those.
Well, Dr. Tom, you obviously felt inspired, and I have to presume discerned your call to go into medicine, into dermatology, and so forth. But when somebody follows a path like that, it's because you're passionate, you want to make a difference, and so forth. I'd be curious if you can give us just a real quick snapshot of how the medical field has changed in terms of impacting you as a provider since you first got into it about 27 years ago.
Well, the three biggest changes I've noticed, and you had me reflect on this, which was a wonderful exercise, is number one, an incredible intrusion of government and insurance company into the practice of medicine. The classic picture of physician-doctor is the Good Samaritan, physician and patient in the center. Now the physician's on the far left side, the patient on the far right. In the middle, you've got government, insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, device makers, hospitals, all arguing. Secondly is increased information availability. There was no internet when I went to medical school. I had to go through the library. And third thing is secular medicine just taking the culture of death for granted and enshrining it within insurance policies as the norm. Those are the biggest changes I've seen.
Wow. I was going to do a little joke there, Doctor, saying, what is a library? Because that's kind of like an encyclopedia that's gone,
I went to my old college a couple weeks ago to show my 11-year-old twin boys, and the library was all computers and meeting areas with tables. I couldn't find books. It was amazing.
Wow. Unbelievable. Well, Dr. Tom McGovern is with us today on Take Two for the entire hour, so we really want you to call in. We're talking about what is the current state and future of healthcare, and we're approaching it from a comprehensive view, and hopefully Dr. Tom will help us do that and to really weave it into our Catholic faith. So please call in 1-800-585-9396, or you can text us. Text the letters EWTN to 55000. Wait for a response. Put your question or comment in, and we'll be happy to put it into the discussion, or Dr. Tom can answer it for you. So please don't sit this out. Don't just learn and take notes like I do. You got to participate.
You know, one of the things that I read recently that made me laugh, only because it is so true, is that, you know, when I went into medicine, and most of my colleagues did, we wanted to make a difference in people's lives. But the way that government rewards doctors now, the perfect answer to the question, why do you want to be a doctor if you're being interviewed for medical school, is this: I want to be a doctor so that I can see more patients per hour with higher patient satisfaction scores than any of my peers. That's what they think we want, because that's how the system is gamed, and it's gamed to reward physicians to work faster and be nicer, which is an impossibility. They're rewarding us with money, which has been shown over and over again not to be the primary motivator of physicians. The primary motivator is the ability to deliver high-quality care to patients. So if physicians are burning out, which they are at alarming rates, that is a harbinger that quality care is suffering. They're burning out because they're not able to deliver high-quality care.
Well, and to that end, Dr. Tom, you can maybe, if we can kind of take that a little bit further, I've noticed, Debbie, I'm sure you have, and Doctor, you probably know of this phenomenon as well. You go now to the doctor, you go to an appointment, and you see probably 3 or 4 or 5 other people throughout most of the visit, and then maybe the doctor will come in, you know, just as sort of it seems like an afterthought, you know, and come in and just sort of verify everything that's been diagnosed and prescribed, and maybe take a look at you, to get out the stethoscope, and then they're gone. So you're right. I mean, you don't really even see, in my experience, I don't even see the primary doctor, but for maybe just a few minutes.
Right. In 2009, the government imposed the High-Tech Act on us, which allocated $30 billion so that physicians' offices would start using electronic medical records. And if we didn't, we take a penalty, which we're doing now in my practice, because the computer records are so Byzantine that they actually decrease the quality of care and efficiency, among other things. They've done one study, well, many studies. One study, 31 million patient interactions or computer interactions in a medical system in California. And in that accounted for less than 3 million patient visits, which meant for every patient visits, the computer generated 11 notes or 11 actions that had to be looked at. Also in the same study, they found out that for every 1 minute a physician is looking at you face-to-face, the doctor is spending 3 minutes either with the computer or with paperwork and administrative problems. And 87% of physicians say their number one stressor at work is paperwork, computers, and administrative work. That has skyrocketed since I've been in practice.
And with that, Dr. Tom, I mean, when all this information about us is being transmitted and you know, obviously stored, is there a risk to us that this online database, if you will, can be lost or hacked, or, you know, something can happen?
Well, they have been. I mean, even you mentioned Lutheran Hospital. I mean, they had a bunch of their database hacked, and so all of us that were in their database got a free year of, you know, computer, you know, safety monitoring and that. But it's regularly happening. So anything online can be hacked eventually.
Wow. It's a new day and age for healthcare. I'll tell you, it's so different from when I was growing up, and I'm sure others as well. But this is an interesting discussion. So please, Take Two family, this is your show. You want to definitely call in. Dr. Tom is wonderful to talk to. 1-800-585-9396. Phone lines are starting to fill up. So everyone on the lines, hold on, because this is Take Two. We go very fast and furious, but in a good way, because we learn, we grow. Thanks for being with us. We'll be right back.
Living the Beatitudes with Father Bjorn.
Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. We get what we look for. Saint Therese of Lisieux has an interesting insight on this. Once in a discussion over the possibility of avoiding purgatory, the future saint told another member of her community, Sister Maria Fabronia, that God was more father than judge. And in this debate, she finally took the liberty of saying to the other sister, "If you look for the justice of God, you will get it. The soul will receive from God exactly what she desires." Are we full of wounds and anger and hurt, and do we want to inflict that on other people? Are we allowing God to heal us? If we receive His mercy, we have to show it to others. The Beatitudes are the heart of Jesus' message. Let's be transformed by them. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Post your intentions on the prayer wall on Jerry and Debbie's website. To get there, just click on the bright yellow J&D logo at take2show.com. Jerry and Debbie personally reply to every prayer intention that's posted. Others will also offer you their prayer support. When there's something important you want prayers for, post it on the prayer wall on Jerry and Debbie's site. Visit take2show.com, click on the J&D logo today.
Carry EWTN with you everywhere when you download the EWTN app. You can enjoy EWTN TV and radio live streams, shows on demands, prayers and devotionals, and the latest Catholic news. Visit EWTNapps.com today.
Hey, this is Doug Keck, EWTN President and Chief Operating Officer.
This is Bishop Ferdinand Cherie, Auxiliary Bishop of New Orleans.
This is Jerry Usher, co-host of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Thanks for listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. Always great to have you with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We made it through the weekend to get to do another show with you here starting a new week, and we're doing it, I think, in a very timely manner. Dr. Tom McGovern, a Fort Wayne, Indiana area dermatologist with us talking about health care, and we want to get to your questions about that. So we're going to get to the phones right now. Our number is 1-800-585-9396. Any question across the board that you might have about where healthcare is, where it's been, where we seem to be going, what your personal experience, you can share your own take, your personal experience of getting healthcare, maybe not being able to get healthcare and being treated and so forth. All right, so we have Dr. Tom, another Dr. Tom in North Augusta, South Carolina is our first call we're going to go to listening. Well, I'm not sure how he's listening, but Dr. Tom in South Carolina, welcome. You're on with Dr. Tom in Fort Wayne. How are you?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I'm actually a practicing physician in Florida. Been in medicine and pediatrics for going on 44 years and sort of bowing out now because of the nature of medicine has changed to not my liking, and EMR is definitely not my liking. But anyway, I was just wanting to know if people know the state of what has happened in pediatrics over the years. And gradually it's gotten to be a rather liberal society where at least a fair portion of physicians feel like the children have more rights than their parents. For instance, is the right to abortion. Some places you don't have to consult a parent, but in my particular situation, I had a child come in 14 years of age with obvious gonorrhea, and talked to him about it and got him to admit it and told him I was going to bring his mother in. He was in the room by himself. When I came in the room, he was there by himself. I always prefer a parent there. So I said, I'm going to bring your mother in. Didn't give him a chance to say no, and I got in and explained it to him. And by the way, the law is that I take him into my confidence and treat him without his parent knowing. Sent him to a VD clinic, and they treated him, told him it was a UTI, took him aside, and told his mother it was a UTI and I was wrong. And she came back angry that I had misdiagnosed it. I did not misdiagnose it. And anyway, called the VD clinic, and the doctor there told me that I was angry that she maligned me, and told them that. And she said, well, you broke the law. You were to treat him confidentially and not to break his confidence. And I thought, my goodness, who would have a 14-year-old child who wouldn't want to know, number one, that their child is sexually active, number two, that they had a venereal disease. And yet I could treat his strep throat with only her permission, but gonorrhea I could treat without her permission. Isn't that something?
Wow.
Dr. Tom McGovern?
Oh, yes, I'm aware of stories like that. I mean, just the same way that you need permission at a school to give a Tylenol or an ibuprofen to a child, but not so that they can go out and have an abortion on school time. It's our society has come off the rails. That's why I said the medical community has enshrined the culture of death, and that's why one of the initiatives that we want to start in the Catholic Medical Association is we've already started reaching out to medical students, but now we're starting a program to reach out to pre-medical students so that when they get to med school, they don't give in to the prevailing philosophy there and just buy into the things like that VD clinic doctor said to the good Dr. Tom down in Florida.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Dr. Tom in South Carolina, you mentioned that you're getting out of practice. Are you still active in practice, or have you retired from that?
I practice one weekend a month. I go around the country doing pro-life speaking now, but mostly I practice one weekend a month just to keep my health insurance for now, and hopefully in the next couple of years be able to just do my pro-life speaking. But I want to emphasize that sometimes you just have to do what's right and not follow the law and take your chances. And so far it hasn't hurt me. I've always taken the parents under any confidence. And and I think I've had kids come in at 12 or 13 telling me they think they're homosexual. And, they're at that part of their life where they're, starting to like guys or starting to like girls and not sure which one. And the homosexual lobby tells them, well, you've got to decide. And the poor kids are just at that puberty age where they really like playing football, but boy, that girl looks pretty, and just the opposite. And they're told that you have to make the decision. And that you've got to bring the parents into the confidence in this so that they can not only counsel them, but that they can pray with them and steer them the way of God. And you have an opportunity with every patient to talk about God, every patient.
Right.
And your patient population will not go down; it will enlarge. People are hungry for this.
Oh, amen.
Well,
God bless you, Dr. Tom. Keep up the good work.
Yeah. I was just going to say the same thing. And Dr. Tom, pediatricians, I can speak for the parents out there. You have a very intimate role in our lives, because I know with my the pediatrician that I had for my boys, I called him all the time. He was like another parent to my kids, and he was so good, and he had a wonderful faith. He was Catholic, and just wonderful, and it was so comforting to know that I had a strong person that I could rely on medically, and then also gave me some really good direction. And Dr. Tom, it sounds like you have done that for so many years. I just want to say thank you for not only the job you did, but it was a vocation, because obviously you did it for the right reasons and your heart was in the right place. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of all the moms and dads out there who love our pediatricians.
Yeah, and the pro-life work that you're doing now. Thank you, Dr. Tom. Appreciate the call. We have a lot of others to get to here, so have a blessed day in, currently South Carolina and your practice in Florida. And be safe as you travel around the country. 1-800-585-9396. Mary's up next in Front Royal, Virginia, listening on Christendom Catholic Radio. Hi, Mary. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, thanks so much for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm actually calling because I'm a stay-at-home mom, homeschools. My husband has employment, but he doesn't have insurance through his employment. So we're currently on the exchanges. We have a $12,000 deductible. We pay over $1,000 a month. I have 3 children with asthma and 1 with reactive airways. And I feel trapped between the debilitating cost of staying on the current exchanges, but then also if I go to a Christian sharing ministry, they don't cover pre-existing conditions. And with 3 children with asthma and 1 with reactive airways, I feel insecure.
Yeah, Dr. Tom?
Yeah, I would feel insecure too. You've outlined at least one of the myths that just because people have insurance means they have good access to health care, but the deductibles and the co-pays are so high. I remember looking at the different levels of plans, the bronze, the silver, the gold. Well, some of the plans were a 60-40 with a 40% copay, and when you're paying $12,000 in premiums, that's virtually impossible for most families, so they forego care. And you're right. Right now, I met some of the health share people at the Convocation of Catholic Leaders recently and realized that they have a phased-in program for pre-existing conditions, which makes that difficult too. And right now, unfortunately, the government doesn't allow or have transparency for what things cost, and so it's hard to go shopping And I am, like I said, I'm not a policy wonk. I don't have the answers, but it outlines that, the government doing what they're doing right now isn't working. I wish I had a better answer for you. One thing that I've suggested, in the past is, could physicians practice, free and get tax credits for the time they put in? That would, I think, encourage a lot more physicians to do free work. I know that a lot of free clinics have done good work, but that's not the whole answer, but it has been filling the gaps. But when people start to think that government is the answer, a lot of the free clinics go away.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, we're getting ready for a break, but Mary, I'd love to hold Mary over, Jerry, if we can, because I want to just throw something out there to Dr. Tom just to see if it's a possibility. I know I tried it. It's a little risky, Dr. Tom, but I wonder if a lot of doctors are doing that now, and that is that it's talking about self-paying and trying to negotiate kind of a deal, if you will, with your doctors that you know and trust. So let's talk about that on the other side of the break. Debbie and Robert and the others, hold on. This is an important topic. We don't want you to leave. Take two is too important. We'll be right back.
And welcome to an EWTN Bookmark Brief. We're in Perilous Falls with its author, the one and only Raymond Arroyo, talking about Will Wilder's latest book and his latest adventure, The Lost Staff of Wonders. Okay, so what is Will up to this time?
Well, this is book 2 in the series, and the story goes on. I mean, when you start a series, you got to finish it. In this book, the staff of Moses goes missing from the Perilous Falls Museum in the middle of Will's town. Will is charged with stealing it. Of course, he didn't. He has to clear his name. In the course of doing this, he, his friends, his Aunt Lucille get pulled into this adventure, and the clock is ticking because the plagues of the Old Testament start falling on them. It's a great way, I think, to introduce kids to history, to a sense of family, that they're not alone, and to these eternal lessons that we all need at some point about the nature of good and the nature of evil.
Very good. Will Wilder, The Lost Staff of Wonders. Thank you so much. The author, Raymond Arroyo, of course, available through the EWTN Religious Catalog. Look for the entire interview coming soon, and this has been a Bookmark Brief. Thanks for stopping by.
Dr. Ray Guarendi.
Manners aren't just for kids. How do you ask nice? What's the magic word? Parents put a lot of effort into teaching manners, and that's good. Manners is a great first impression. Unfortunately, kids don't use them all the time. Why do we get lazy with manners as we get older? Especially with those closest to us. Your spouse, your mother, okay, your mother-in-law. How often do you say please? Guys, did you just say, hey, give me a cup of coffee, would you? Oh yeah, it's nice because you put it in a question. How about, please could you get me a cup of coffee? Manners show dignity in relationships. I will treat you with etiquette, which translates so often into respect.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Debbie Georgiani and Jerry Usher, along with Dr. Tom McGovern, and we're so glad you're with us as well. 1-800-585-9396 if you want to get on the program, talking about the current state and future of healthcare. Dr. Tom and Mary, thank you for holding. I wanted to just say that I know this is a little risky, but it was actually advised to me, because I share on the show that I live in Arizona. I cannot afford health insurance at this time. I basically have a interim catastrophic, if you will, policy that's holding us over until something can get done. But I actually went to all my doctors that I've had for 20 plus years, and I talked to them and explained the situation. And believe it or not, all 4 of them, including one dermatologist that I have, Dr. Tom, you'll be proud of this. He's wonderful here in Arizona. They all allowed me to self-pay, and it's actually less expensive than if I had insurance.
Oh, absolutely. There is no price transparency, and there needs to be. We need the ability to do that, to see what things cost. A couple comments on what you've said. Number one, yes, almost every physician office will charge less if you pay cash and if you come into them and come up with that. So my office has a policy with that. That's regular. Number two, around the country there are a growing number of clinics set up by Catholic physicians to meet people in just such situations. There's a new one in Green Bay, the Gianna Mola Clinic. There's a new one in Kalamazoo, Michigan, the Helping Hands Clinic. There's one in Ann Arbor, Michigan, Emmaus Healthcare, and there's one that just opened in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm not sure what the name of it is, but they are slowly popping up to meet those kind of needs. And I think that is going to be a wave of the future for us in the Catholic Church to establish a parallel culture to meet the needs of people who want physicians who have the same beliefs and can provide it at a cost that's reasonable. The other thing I bring up to you is that current health care plans, well, even with Obamacare, it was stated outright that they wanted to do away with private practice physicians and eventually subsume as many as possible into large organizations and hospitals. As one example from my practice, I do facial cancer surgery and reconstruction. I had a patient with an insurance plan that would pay for him to have something done in the hospital or in an ambulatory surgery center, but not in the office where I do all of my surgery. But he came in to have me remove it because my method would save the most skin. He did that, and then he went to a colleague of mine in plastic surgery to have it repaired. And when he found out the cost, he was appalled. The plastic surgeon first quoted a cost of $10,000. Then he came down, he talked him down to $5,000. He came back and asked me what I would charge him if I were charging cash. I looked at the size of the hole on his nose. I looked at how much Medicare would pay for the repair, which I charge people without insurance. It was $965. He paid me happily. It's cheaper to do things in offices than in the hospital, but the hospital gets paid more by insurance companies, and it's driving up the cost of medical care.
Wow. Mary, have you thought about that for your family?
I have. I believe you when you say that it's cheaper to do it with the doctor's office. I do believe that. I just get frustrated because the purpose of insurance, whether it's homeowners insurance, health insurance, car insurance, is to cover catastrophic.
Right.
It's precisely to cover if I have a heart attack, if something significant happens. And that's one of the tensions that you're understanding is if I were to go to a cash pay basis, am I just not paying health insurance? What happens if one of my children has an asthma attack and has to be hospitalized? Then am I negotiating with the hospital? And
that's why with healthcare we need to push for the option you're actually talking about, and this is something our healthcare policy committee for the Catholic Medical Association is pushing, that we can have health savings accounts, tax-free, tax-exempt money that we use for the day-to-day, but then we can purchase catastrophic plans separately. Right now, with the Affordable Care Act, every plan has to have everything in it. Well, that's crazy. I mean, these are the same people who trumpet choice, but they're limiting our choices. And I think the HSA plus catastrophic plan is another potential way that we could save money with health care.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree.
All right, Mary.
Write letters. People
Thank you.
want to listen.
Bless you, Mary. We'll keep you in our prayers. 1-800-585-9396. Good stuff today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Important, very timely. Healthcare, where we've been, where we are, where we go, where we're going. Which actually, I guess nobody can answer that question right now with the way things have been going politically. Anyway, 1-800-585-9396. But really, we're setting that aside and just asking you to share your take or ask any question that's on your heart. Really, just about where the rubber hits the road in day-to-day life, about being treated for health issues. So, Robert, you were next in Fort Wayne, Indiana, listening, of course, on Redeemer Radio. Robert, welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and Dr. Tom McGovern.
Hi, how you doing today?
Good, Robert.
Good.
Great. I'll tell you, I was recently outside, and I got a real second-degree severe blistering sunburn. Went into the emergency room after I had already started to treat it with heavy aloe and things like that. What appalled me was the way I was treated when I got in there. They were entertained by my burn, made a comment that was, to me, inappropriate regarding, oh, that's an interesting farmer's tan. And, I just think the interaction between emergency staff and family doctors is all under the power of the administration. And I don't want to give emergency doctors a bad rap. I think, You got to have a little levity, but I don't think it's appropriate when somebody's got an 8.5 pain on the register there, and they're there for help and not taken seriously. And I think that's all fallout because of the administration. And I'm talking hospital administration because they've got the pressure from the insurance company who have the pressure from the federal government. So it all tapers down in striations. And I think doctors really do get a bad rap overall because they're the fall guys and gals that see us. And my heart goes out to Dr. McGovern because I know you understand what I'm talking about, and you understand the bedside manner, because when I was a kid and even growing up through my teens and early 20s, doctors were there. They were compassionate. The staff knew who you were. If it was emergent, or they would say, meet me at the emergency room, they would take care of you. And I think that's what people, you mentioned, what are they hungry for? That human interaction, because Christ did the same thing. If you want to throw a biblical twist, it was the human interaction. The beauty of it was that the healing came afterward, but was that intertwined spiritual connection that we're missing. And I think that's what people are hungry for.
Robert,
as far as my personal situation,
I want you to tell me when you think it came from. It says the public has lost some degree of respect for the medical profession because of the doctor himself. It says many physicians are hostile and alien to religion, considering man simply as a case and paying no attention to him as an individual endowed with a soul, a rational, responsible being. When do you think that was
a fair
written?
question. I'll answer it as good as I can, and as well as I can. I think when we lose God, we lose insight of each person's dignity. When we lose sight of God and start putting a scientific experiment or a scientific, we can do a clinical study on you. Clinical study is an interesting topic that you could do a whole hour on, because I recall when clinical studies on human beings were non-existent. Now you can see and participate in a clinical study, and it's even on the TV asking for them. So,
Robert, my question was, what year do you think that was written? I want to make a point off of that quote
what
that
year?
I read.
I don't know.
It was written in 1933. So already back then, this was in the third issue of the Catholic Medical Association Journal, the Lineker Quarterly. Even 84 years ago, there were problems with physicians treating people that way, and I agree with you. I think it's only gotten worse. Yes. And you're absolutely right. It does trickle down. The average emergency room physician in a shift has 4,000 clicks on a computer mouse that he has to go through, and only 22% of his time is he available to spend with patients because he's got so much computer and administrative stuff to do. That is one of, and what you just said happened to you, unfortunately, is one of the three signs of burnout, and that is cynicism or depersonalization, which 54% of physicians nationwide suffer from currently.
All right, Robert, thank you for the call. We've got a ton more people that we want to get to here on the program, but appreciate you listening there in Fort Wayne on Redeemer Radio and joining us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Speaking of Debbie, we're going to go to Honesdale, Pennsylvania, and we have a Debbie calling, listening on JMJ Radio. Hello, Debbie in Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for calling Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. You're on with Dr. Tom McGovern. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Jerry. Hi, Dr. Tom.
Hello.
When I was in the Adoration Chapel back in March, I used to date a doctor actually for a number of years,
sorry.
and so I kind of had some insights. But I've been going through some really difficult situations because I have celiac, I have Epstein-Barr numbers through the roof, and right now I'm just surviving on my health savings account. But the thing that was interesting in the chapel is how God showed me, Satan's influence in the medical situation, because he said that basically they become, all right, I'll get to the point. The holy physician treats the person as a whole. Ungodly physicians divide over and over again in their treatment of the person. And he said to me that, basically the unholy physician is the one who treats their patient like an object and then goes on to steal their hard-earned income because they're liars and thieves like Satan. And I've seen so many doctors over the years, like everything that you've been saying up until now, the pressure that they're under from the business end of the situation has actually pushed a lot of really good doctors into a situation where they're faced with, okay, do I stay a doctor or do I put my Christian, values for the patient first? And they're really stuck with their backs against the wall, and the patients are the ones who are suffering for all of this. And I've seen so many, I had a great doctor years ago, and because of all of this nonsense, he retired early because he'd had it. And that's what's happening is that a lot of really good Catholic doctors are just getting off the scene because they're tired of, basically bowing to Satan's...
well, it's a conflict, Debbie. It's a conflict. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. On the other end, I'm seeing a lot of really dynamic, fully engaged young Catholic physicians and medical students coming out. And by fostering that in the Catholic Medical Association, we hope to increase the number of physicians like that. But you also bring up another good point. One great thing the laity can help with is anything to help promote conscience protection for physicians. Sign on to. I think it's is it Jerry and Debbie, the NCHLA? I forget what the letters are, but they send out updates and ask you to sign on petitions that go to congressmen from your district whenever votes come up for conscience protection. I believe it's passed the House. Now we have to try to get it through the Senate so that we can still practice in a way consistent with Catholic culture of life beliefs.
Say that again, Dr. Tom, because Jerry's looking it up to make sure we get the right site you're talking about.
Is it NCHLA, National Campaign for the Human Life Amendment, is what it started as. And now I get emails from them, every couple months to sign on to other, pro-life Catholic petitions. National Campaign for the Human Life Amendment.org.
Yeah. Jerry's the Google king, so he'll look it up real fast. But Debbie, you make some really, really great points. And here's the thing, Deb. As you were talking, I was thinking to myself, we have to pray for our like you said, Dr. Tom, those young physicians that are coming out of med school with that sense of really that servant type demeanor, where they're trying to do what's best for the human person, the human soul, and we've got to pray for them. And so that's what I took away, Debbie, as you were talking. I'm thinking, wow, we've really got to start praying for our physicians and our nurses and all that, our nurse practitioners, everybody who's involved in the medical field.
And please encourage them to join the Catholic Medical Association. We have been growing since the Affordable Care Act was passed. We have 102 guilds around the country. Unfortunately, we still only represent 1% of Catholic physicians, or about 1,800 physician members. We figure there are 100 times more Catholic physicians in the country. And to her original point, our vision statement is inspiring physicians to imitate Jesus Christ.
Beautiful.
That's why we exist.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Debbie, for the phone call. Real quick mention here, folks. If you want to just stay up to date on news, information, all the things happening at EWTN, your favorite network, just to sign up for Wings. Go to EWTN.com. It's a weekly e-newsletter that comes out, and it gives you details about new shows coming up, current shows, episodes. You'll be informed of guests that are coming up on some of the shows. You have access to the specials in the EWTN religious catalog. So check out Wings. Go to EWTN.com. It's free. Just get that in your email inbox every day. We're going to go back to the calls in a second. So Maria and Lee, hang on. I just wanted to ask a quick follow-up, Dr. Tom. And I mentioned that you and I got acquainted at Redeemer Radio and the Share-a-thons, and there have been over the years physicians doing their residencies there in Fort Wayne who have come in with you. And one of the things that I've asked them, these newer, younger medical students and residents and so forth, is why do you still feel motivated and inspired to get into this field with all of these challenges, the culture of death, the impersonal treatment, the pressures you're getting from the medical industry and the pharmaceuticals and all of that, the paperwork. What about that, Dr. Tom? Are we seeing any kind of a drop-off in faith-filled people still wanting to make a difference in medicine?
There are a lot of courageous medical students I'm meeting who want to go into the, quote, belly of the beast, and that is go into obstetrics and gynecology now, which has the greatest pushback from the culture of death, and they're fearless. I have been so impressed. I mean, I suffered for that in my own life. It's kind of part of my story how I got into dermatology, but I was never interested in OB-GYN. But I don't think there is a decrease in faith-filled Catholics who want to go into medicine. I think what there is a decrease in is many physicians are telling their own children not to go into medicine. That I'm hearing regularly.
Wow, that's unfortunate.
And that is because when we started practice, it was more focused on the patient. That's what gives us the joy of medicine, is interacting with and helping people who are suffering. Well, now it's become an industry. Well, medicine isn't an industry. Medicine isn't a business. Medicine isn't even a science. It's an art. It's a human relationship. And to treat it as a commodity devalues the human person.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Wow. Well, Maria's been waiting so patiently in East Peoria, Illinois, listening on St. Bernadette Radio. Thanks, Maria, for waiting. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and our guest, Dr. Tom McGovern.
Oh, hello. Thank you very much for taking my call. I recently came across, and I wanted to know if the doctor had heard of this particular doctor, but his name is Dr. Joel Wallach, Wallach. And I just yesterday heard that a CD that this doctor put out where he was touting the lack of mineral and supplement type things that could really make a big difference in good health for people. And I wondered if the doctor is aware of this doctor or not, or anything in that regard.
I've heard his advertisements on the radio. His tagline is, "Dead doctors don't lie."
Correct. I guess I was just wondering if there's any slight validity to what he was talking about, or not.
From the way I have read the research, there are very few people who benefit from vitamins and minerals. The studies that look at them show negligible to no benefit. And this is, from the CDC, the National Institutes of Health. So I have personally become very wary of anything that those will help just based on the science. So I think that Dr. Wallach is kind of on the fringe, but he would say he would expect me to say that. So I would take it with a big grain of salt, a common mineral, and I wouldn't put too much hope that that's going to make a big difference. Vitamin deficiencies, mineral deficiencies are only going to be present in people who are really subsisting on horrible diets, perhaps, anorexics, or people who are subsisting on alcohol. So that is a very rare problem in our society, contrary to what many of the sellers of vitamins and minerals would have us think.
But Dr. Tom, would you agree that whole food nutrition, just having a really good balanced diet and of good food sources?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
In fact, I had a personal physician who believed in all that kind of stuff with the vitamins and minerals. He had, all these supplements. So finally, I stopped them all, and he did this one test of my lymphocytes to test how healthy I was. And he was amazed when the test came back. I had a healthy level of everything, and all I was doing was eating fruits, vegetables, whole grains, fish. So yes, if you're eating a healthy diet, in most cases you're not going to need supplements. Of course, women at a certain age need iron. Women who are pregnant need folic acid, and that was a great Catholic physician who discovered that folic acid does prevent neural tube defects. So there are exceptions to that, but there aren't. But yes, healthy diet, that's the key.
Right. Well, thank you, Maria, for that call. We really appreciate it. I just have to say real quickly, because we're running out of time, Jerry. Dr. Tom, if I lived in the Fort Wayne area, I would come to you. But like I said, I have a great dermatologist in Arizona, but I would come to you for sure.
Him or her. Yes, absolutely.
Well, as Debbie said, we are in the final couple minutes here of the program. Dr. Tom, maybe you can just kind of, wind this discussion up for us here and just give people some thoughts or just your advice on navigating the whole healthcare minefield that we have today.
Well, from a Catholic perspective, what I think, if people can focus on these things in the healthcare debate, number one, like I said, conscience protection for all physicians so that you can still have a physician who practices according to Catholic principles. And that website is humanlifeaction.org. All one word, humanlifeaction.org. And they're the ones who put out the, not surveys, what is it, but for us to respond. Number two, resist anything that increases government control of financing health care because they will impose their ethics on us. Three is we need to try to transition away from third-party control of health care so we can do direct primary care where you contract with your primary care physician a certain amount per year and then they take care of you except for catastrophic. And these HSAs plus catastrophic insurance like we talked about earlier would be a good idea. And finally, we have to realize that there is not unlimited medical care available and that there are limits on care, but that the choice of how those limits are navigated should be in the hands of families, of patients, not in the hands of some impersonal government or healthcare industry representative.
That site that you were quoting, Dr. Tom, do they put out petitions that we could all sign and stuff?
That's the word, petitions,
okay.
yes. Humanlifeaction.org. They're supported by the bishops, back them up, and they have, in fact, they were at the Convocation of Catholic Leaders, and they've spoken to our board on the Catholic Medical Association. In fact,
nice.
Diocese has tried to get all their church members to sign up in different parts of the country this last year.
Wow, that's awesome. So folks in the Fort Wayne area, how can folks find you, Dr. Tom? Do you have a site, a website?
fwderm.com, fortwaynederm.com.
Cool.
That's me.
Very
and if you want to read a really excellent article on the healthcare mess, a colleague of mine, Dr. Steve White, wrote one for the CatholicVote.org blog. It's 10 ideas for healthcare legislation. Just cross-reference CatholicVote.org with Steve White, and it'll bring it up. It was earlier this year. It was tremendously well done.
Yeah, well, what we'll do is we will look that up right after the show and post that on the website at take2show.com. And Dr. Tom, you're also, you do some recordings for Redeemer Radio, right? Or you did. Are you still doing those? Yeah, good.
Yep, I still do Another Doctor at Calvary and Man Alive. And yes, we're looking at some different radio initiatives that I can talk to you about offline, but we had some good talk with various people from Catholic Radio at the Convocation of Catholic Leaders.
Nice. Well, you have a great voice, Dr. Tom.
You're very kind. You're very kind, Debbie.
Give also, you mentioned several times the Catholic Medical Association. We got about 30 seconds, Dr. Tom, if you can give people an overview of that or just kind of a quick, where they can find out about that, because this is really, as you say, a growing movement and really, I think, a very important one.
We need to band together because when we develop relationships with like-minded physicians, we won't want to stop, and it really reinvigorates our desire to be physicians. The website is cathmed.org, cathmed.org. Our annual conference this year is in Denver, the weekend after Labor Day. It's going to be tremendous. Look at it, sign up if you want, and if you want, you can contact me through the website, and I'll be happy to answer any questions, but try to get your doctors and nurses to come.
Wow. Well, thank you, Dr. Tom McGovern. We just are so pleased that you were able to join us for the entire hour. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your vocation. And we hope you join us again on Take Two. God bless you for everything. We're going to be praying, have prayers all around you. Okay, so tomorrow, Jerry, we're talking about bullseye. That's what we titled it. Do you have a target on your back? Are you like the victim of criticism all the time? I don't know how we're going to discuss it, but we're waiting for Take Two tomorrow.
We are. We always look forward. We love being with you. Thanks for your listenership. Thanks for your support of EWTN Radio. Thanks to Rich and Jeff and Matt and the whole show team. Thanks to Redeemer Radio.
Yes.
And all of our affiliates. If you're an affiliate of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, thank you. If you listen some other way and your local Catholic radio station doesn't yet carry the show, give them a very polite, nice phone call and ask them if they might consider it.
A little nudge. Okay, don't forget to like us on Facebook, Jerry and Debbie. Until tomorrow, have a beautiful and blessed day.